Mars has intrigued scientists since it was discovered in the night sky centuries ago, and it keeps giving scientists reason to believe there may be life on the red planet. With several landers now perusing the planet's surface, we are fed with a constant stream of images, but it appears one of those landers just stumbled on something mysterious on Mars. Join us as we explore how this former NASA scientist has just revealed that something big was just discovered on Mars. Mars remains a great point of interest for scientists even after all these years, as it remains the only planet we've been able to successfully land rovers to observe the surface. Over the years, these rovers have fed us thousands of images, giving us a better understanding of how the red planet works. But amidst these images, scientists have noticed some truly strange and weird objects that could be hiding in plain sight on the planet's surface. One of these strange objects is what is now termed donut rock. NASA's Opportunity rover was carrying out its usual rounds of mappings and imaging on the surface of Mars, sending back images to NASA's mission control here on Earth. But scientists were shocked when they came across a mysterious rock in one of the images that wasn't there in a previous image of the same spot. This mystery rock appears to be a crumpled jelly donut of some kind and has left scientists at a loss for what it might be. The discovery was made after a comparison of images captured by the rover's panoramic camera made on 2 separate days. The images taken on Sol 3528, which marks the number of days the rover had been on the planet's surface, showed no signs of anything unusual. But images taken 12 days later on Sol 3540 revealed the strange donut-shaped rock, indicating it had been moved there somehow. Scientists over at NASA's Mission Control nicknamed the mysterious object Pinnacle Island. The rover's lead scientist, Steve Squires, stated how shocked they were at the discovery at the 10th anniversary celebration of the Opportunity rover landing on Mars. He stated, "We're completely confused. We're having a wonderful time. Everyone on the team is arguing and fighting." The picture of the strange rock went viral online, with both scientists and regular people all stating what they thought the rock could be. Some scientists believe it could be some undiscovered mineral material, which might explain its weird color, but doesn't explain how it moved into the frame on its own. Others believe it could be some type of alien fungus or mold that somehow survives the icy temperature of Mars and could possibly move on its own across the Martian surface. However, several theories as to the origin and identity of the mysterious rock were so far-fetched that one theory in particular resulted in a petition and subsequent lawsuit. In the lawsuit, a civilian was suing the government, demanding that they compel NASA to further study the mysterious rock, and even going as far as suggesting a separate mission be commissioned to study it. But while alien theories abound about the origins of the Pinnacle Island rock, the rover's mission control scientists and NASA stated they had 2 working theories to explain the sudden appearance of the object. The first theory suggests that the mystery rock could actually be a piece of rock debris ejected from an impact crater near where the rover took the images. This could have resulted from mini-asteroids hitting the surface of Mars, causing debris to be ejected within the region. The second theory was much more simple. The rover scientists believe the rock could just have easily resulted from the rover kicking up some debris using one of its 6 wheels the last time it was in that spot. Scientists over at NASA believed the second theory to be the most likely, as it was the most plausible explanation, which would explain just one piece of rock, whereas the crater ejector theory would have resulted in multiple rock debris on the spot. After further investigation, researchers finally settled on the second theory, stating, "Once we moved Opportunity a short distance after inspecting Pinnacle Island, we could see directly uphill an overturned rock that has the same unusual appearance." More images later received clearly show the original piece of rock that the rover's wheels struck, causing the mystery rock to break. "We drove over it. We can see the track. That's where Pinnacle Island came from," said Mission Control scientists. But while the origin of the rock has been debunked, there's still the question of the rock's eerie appearance, which looks almost silver in color. According to scientists, the surface of Mars is rarely disturbed save for the action of meteors and asteroids, so by striking the rock and flipping it over, the rover has just revealed a side of the rock that probably hasn't seen light for billions of years. This underside has most likely been part of the Martian crust for the longest time before it was dislodged by the rover's wheel, which explains the difference in color from the rest of the red-colored surface rock on Mars. But the rock's appearance isn't all that's fascinating about it. In a bid to further understand this unusual part of the Martian surface, researchers conducted an in-depth analysis of the rock to further understand its composition. Using tools on the rover, they were able to deduce that the rock had high levels of magnesium and sulfur, which was incredibly odd as it had not been previously observed on the Martian surface. Both elements are actually water-soluble elements, which suggests that they were infused in the rock by the action of water. This is highly fascinating as there's not been water on the surface of Mars for millions of years. According to scientists, the location of the rock so close to the surface could indicate that the concentration of these elements on the rock by water could have happened fairly recently. But this is almost impossible as there have not been any free-flowing bodies of water on the surface of Mars for millions of years. But other scientists state that the actions of comets, which carry ice and possibly frozen water, could have caused the concentration of these elements on the rock. This theory, however, has been highly debated as the surface of Mars is incredibly cold and any form of water would simply freeze up and basically be unable to dissolve any mineral elements. The next likely explanation is that the rock could simply have been imbued with those elements millions of years ago when there was still water on the surface of Mars. Subsequently, the action of wind on the surface could have eroded the topsoil over millions of years, giving the rover's wheels access to that section of rock. This could mean that there are more of these strange rocks closer to the topsoil on the surface of Mars, and could mean a rich source of minerals for mining, which could be used for generating power when we eventually colonize the red planet. But while the mystery of the donut rock has been solved, it isn't the first time that weird and strange things have been discovered on the surface of Mars, which turned out to have fairly simple explanations. Some notable mentions of these fluke discoveries include the existence of Martian cities by astronomer Percival Lowell in 1906. Lowell stated that he had discovered the existence of seasonal vegetation on the surface of Mars, which he stated indicated the presence of a dying civilization. Of course, we now know that what Lowell thought he saw was just geologic formations and the natural seasonal changes common on the Martian surface. But while Lowell's apparent discovery was nothing more than a lack of advanced technology, he is credited with kicking off the current Mars mania, in which we are fascinated with the idea of sending astronauts to the surface of the red planet. Another notable mistaken discovery was the face on Mars, which served as the longest-lived optical illusion from the surface of Mars. The images were taken by NASA's Viking 1 lander, which comprised several albedo features which are visible from even Earth-bound telescopes. The images were taken on a region of Mars known as Cydonia, with the most prominent feature being what was termed the face on Mars, which is a 2-kilometer-long feature with a humanoid face. For the longest time, the face on Mars puzzled scientists, as it appeared to be some sort of collapsed statue squarely resting on the surface of a planet that was thought to be void of civilization. The face on Mars spurred theories of extraterrestrial intelligence or Martian life, which provided some sort of evidence of a long-lost Martian civilization. And for the better part of 25 years, it was widely believed that there could possibly have been some sort of ancient civilization on the surface of Mars. It wasn't until the Mars Global Surveyor Orbiter captured a better view of Cydonia in 2001, which showed the face on Mars was nothing more than a trick of the light and an optical illusion of a small rock formation. A more recent optical illusion on the Martian surface was when NASA's Curiosity rover photographed what could only be termed as a rodent on the surface of Mars. The image was taken over the region of Mars known as Rocknest in 2012, and as you can clearly see, the object appears to be some sort of rodent with a small head and a tiny limb protruding from the side. Understandably, it spurred wide attention at the possibility of some sort of indigenous rodent surviving on the cold, icy surface of Mars. But upon further analysis, it turned out that the newly discovered rodent was nothing more than just another rock with a weird formation. Another seemingly exciting discovery was made when a tiny object was detected by NASA's Curiosity rover, which halted the lander's exploration for a week. The tiny object appeared to be some sort of diamond or reflective material, which spurred people to believe that there could be valuable hard substances, such as diamonds, abundant on the Martian surface. The object eventually turned out to be a bright-colored piece of dirt that was not incredibly different from all the other pieces of rock found on the Martian surface. It appears our eagerness to find something completely different on Mars has made us see things for what they aren't. And although Mars might be an entirely different planet from Earth, it could be more similar than we hoped it would be. So far, scientists have not been able to identify any significant differences on the surface of Mars compared to Earth, which might not seem exciting, but it is important if we're to colonize the Martian surface at any point in the future.